Avir, and welcome back to the channel. Halloween is a time for fun, candy, and spooky costumes. But behind the masks and laughter, sometimes real-life horror stories unfold. Narrated. We read diving into 3 true trick-or-treat encounters that will make you think twice before knocking on a stranger's door. These stories have been animated to bring the chilling details to life. So, turn down the lights, grab your candy bowl, and let's get started. Story 1. The House at the End of the Cul-de-sac. I was about 10 years old, trick-or-treating with my best friend, Leo. We lived in a pretty, safe neighborhood, the kind where everyone knew everyone. We were hitting all the usual houses, our bags getting heavier with each stop. Then, we noticed the last house on the cul-de-sac, one that was always dark, had its porch light on. We were hesitant. Rumors said an old, reclusive man lived there, and no one ever saw him, but the lure of more candy was too strong. We walked up the cracked pathway and rang the doorbell. After a long moment, the door creaked open just a sliver. An eye, cloudy and intense, peered out. A raspy voice asked, "What do you want?" We nervously yelled, "Trick or treat." The door opened wider, revealing a tall, gaunt man in a dusty suit. He wasn't holding a candy bowl. Instead, he gestured inside with a bony finger and said, "The treats are on the table. Come in." A cold dread washed over us. The inside of his house was pitch black except for a single, flickering candle on a table far in the back. Something was deeply wrong. Leo and I looked at each other, and without a word, we bolted. We didn't stop, running until we were safely back at my house, hearts pounding. We never went back to that end of the street, and the next year, the house was dark again. Story 2. The Too Realistic Mask. This happened to my older sister, Chloe, when she was a teenager. She was out with her friends, feeling a bit too old for trick-or-treating, but enjoying the night anyway. As they were walking down a dimly lit street, a figure emerged from the shadows between 2 houses. It was a man dressed in a simple mechanic's jumpsuit, but his mask was what caught their attention. It was incredibly realistic, a pale, emotionless face with hollowed-out eyes. It didn't look like rubber or plastic. It looked real. He didn't say anything. He just stood there, holding a large, empty sack, and started following them. At first, they laughed it off as a good scare. They picked up their pace, but he matched it. They started jogging, and they could hear his heavy footsteps right behind them. Panic set in. They broke into a full sprint, weaving through other groups of kids. When Chloe dared to look back, he was still there, keeping the same distance, his head slightly tilted. They ducked into a crowded, well-lit street and lost themselves in the throng of people. When they finally stopped to catch their breath and looked back, he was gone. Chloe swears to this day it wasn't a mask. She said the skin had pores and she could see the faint glint of moisture in the eyes. They never saw him again, but the image of that blank, pale face haunted her for years. Story 3. A Treat with a Note. My friend Sarah had this happen when she was in middle school. She was trick-or-treating in a new neighborhood her family had just moved into. One house gave out amazing full-sized candy bars, so it was a popular stop. When it was Sarah's turn, a sweet-looking elderly woman smiled and dropped a chocolate bar into her bag. Sarah thanked her and moved on. It wasn't until she got home and started her triumphant candy inventory that she noticed something odd about that specific bar. Taped to the back was a small, neatly folded piece of paper. Curious, she peeled it off and unfolded it. In shaky, desperate handwriting, it said, "Help me. He won't let me leave." Sarah's blood ran cold. She showed her parents, and they immediately called the police. The police went to the house, and Sarah later found out that the elderly woman was being held captive in her own home by a relative who had been exploiting her. The Halloween trick-or-treaters were her one chance to cry for help without him noticing. Sarah's quick thinking and her parents' action led to the woman's rescue. It's a terrifying reminder that you never truly know what's happening behind closed doors, even on the most festive of nights. And that's all the time we have for tonight. It's chilling to think that these stories are based on real events. Halloween is a time for fun scares, but always remember to stay safe, stay aware, and stick with your friends. What's the scariest thing that's ever happened to you on Halloween? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed these animated stories, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more creepy content. Stay safe out there, and have a happy Halloween!